trust, public trust, private trust, domestic trust, foreign trust, simple, complex, unincorporated business trust, asset protection trust, living trust, blind trust. What's good with all this? What is this? What is it? What's the difference? Let's do this. Real quick. I want to read the definition of trust for y'all from 4 separate sources that I have on hand. The first one is going to be, what year is this? Man, this is old. 1927. So I got the Dictionary of Modern English Usage. This is the Oxford, 1927 Oxford. This thing stinks. I have American Dictionary of English Language by Noah Webster from 1828. Gotta get your hands on these. They make facsimiles of these, so it's not all old and dusty. I also have, obviously, I got my Black's Law Deluxe 4th edition by West Publishing Company. And I'm going to read a definition out of a private manual that I use to assist in the education of administration and trust. All right. So, I'm going to start. Which one am I going to start with? I'm going to start with the Oxford. Let's start with this Oxford one. Trust. What is trust? Let's know what we're dealing with. Trust. The Oxford English Dictionary. It's a noun. Oxford English Dictionary's definition of the commercial sense is here given for comparison with cartel. And should I look that up too? I'm gonna stay on top of it. A body of producers or traders in some class of business organized to reduce or defeat competition, lessen expenses, and control production and distribution for their common advantage. Specifically, such a combination of commercial or industrial companies with a central governing body of trustees, which holds a majority or the whole of the stock of each of the combining firms, thus having a controlling vote in the conduct and operation of each. 1927, Oxford. Y'all know English came from England. That's why I did that one first. Man, I want to look at cartel. Because what are y'all talking about cartel, man? You see how this does? I got time, y'all. Carven. Carte. In old senses, pronounced cartel, K-A-R apostrophe T-L. In a new sense, manufacturers combination. It represents a German cartel and is often so spelled and may therefore be expected to accent the last syllable for, man, what does that matter? The manufacturers is a contract between independent establishments regulating the amount of output for each. Okay, so they're regulating output. It's still a contract. Okay. All right, let's go to the American Dictionary of English Language, Noah Webster, 1828. Y'all should get your hands on this. Whether they're PDFs or the actual physical copies are highly suggested. Trust. Okay, so there's, man, how many? Where's it at? Trust. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and then, Joe, this is in here 3 times. Trust. Okay, so I'm going to go with 8 of the first word. It's a noun. Number 8, something committed to a person's care for use or management, and for which an account must be rendered. Every man's talents and advantages are a trust committed to him by his maker, and for the use or employment of which he is accountable. Woohoo! Ooh, I like that. I'm going to read it again. Something committed to a person's care for use or management, and for which an account must be rendered. Oh, man. So, I got this vessel in trust from my Creator. Hold on. Every man's talents and advantages are a trust committed to him by his maker, and for the use or employment of which he is accountable. I like that, y'all. That was the American Dictionary of English Language, 1828. Black's Law, 4th edition. I like this one. In general, trust, a right of property, real or personal, held by one party for the benefit of another. Man, they got Supreme Court cases in here. Y'all got to get these law dictionaries. A confidence reposed in one person who was termed trustee for the benefit of another, who was called the sesque trust. Man, I've heard that so many times. Respecting property which is held by the trustee for the benefit of the sesque trust. Yo, that's State Ex Rel. Wirt versus Superior Court for Spokane County. 10 WAS period 2D 362 116 P.2D 75275. Any arrangement whereby property is transferred with intention that it be administered by trustee for another's benefit. A fiduciary relation with respect to property subjecting person by whom the property is held to equitable duties to deal with the property for the benefit of another person, which arises as a result of manifestation of an intention to create it. Yo, why are you trying to play word games? A trust can be created for any purpose which is not illegal and which is not against public policy. Essential elements of trust are designated beneficiary and trustee, funds sufficiently identified to enable title to pass to trustee, and actual delivery to trustee with the intention of passing title. It goes on. Such a trust is the person for whose benefit a trust is created or who is to enjoy the income or avails of it. There's charitable trust, direct trust, dry trust, educational trust, executed trust, executory trust, Massachusetts or business trust, naked trust, passive trust, precatory trust, express trust, imperfect trust, implied trust, express private passive trust. Man, I can keep going. Constructive, contingent, direct trust, directory trust, private trust, proprietary trust, public trust, resulting trust, secret trust, shifting trust, simple trust, special trust, totten trusts, transgressive trust, trust allotments, and trust companies, trust deposits, trust estates, trust. That's Black's Law. 4th edition. My edition is a deluxe. It's old. Smells funny. All right. And finally, a trust is defined as a right of property, real or personal, held by one party for the benefit of another. Real property refers to, for example, land, buildings, crops, or mineral rights. Personal property consists of movable articles such as furniture, jewelry, stocks, or bonds, i.e., everything that is not real property. There are many types of trusts. I'm not going to read the rest. This is a private document. I may have said too much already. So, probably still confused. I know I'm confused. That really didn't help me. So what do we do here? Trust. Break it down in layman's terms. It's a right or claim to property, real or, commercial property, commercial titles to property, so on and so forth. All these can be vested in trust. What is a trust? Trust is essentially a contract that exists by declaration. What's the difference between a trust that's public and a trust that's private? Well, a private trust is governed by the indenture itself, the actual trust document. Now, it may come under legislation when it interfaces with certain jurisdictions, such as a commercial jurisdiction. But a private trust is not governed by legislation. The actions of the trust, the disbursements of the trust, the reimbursements of the trust, the benefits of administering the trust, none of these elements and more are governed by governed by legislation or governed in a legislative jurisdiction. A public trust exists and owes its existence to legislation. Legislation just deriving itself from the state of whatever your state is, and existing under the laws of the United States of, which is essentially, most of us know to be a commercial jurisdiction. Essentially, that's what a trust is. So there's either legislative trust or contract trust. Now, I'm going to lay it out there. I know there are contract trusts that exist that do not derive themselves or their creation through legislation, but they have domestic EINs. There are contract trusts that exist that do not come under the jurisdiction of the domestic legislation that have foreign EINs. So, can a contract trust be public? It can be made public. The contract within the indenture can describe that. The adjudication of this contract comes under, a state law or a certain state's law. So in a sense, even though that's contract trust, it's being governed by legislation because it within the contract it says that it is or it shall be. Now, a private trust will not elect to be governed under legislation. That's what makes it private. How do you create a private trust? There are many different ways to do that. Trust exists by declaration. You declare the existence of trust, whether they're public or private. And then within or after following the declaration, there is the indenture itself. So when you're dealing with a trust from an attorney, automatically that's going to be a legislative trust. It's going to fall under the jurisdiction of the legislation. It's going to have a domestic EIN. Attorneys, lawyers are public officers. The first duty is to the public. Us trying to contract a public officer to benefit our private family or names is counterproductive. These private trusts, these 9A trusts, I got my 9A number. I know how I feel about that. These will never come from an attorney. And if you get it from an attorney, the attorney's going to swear to secrecy. Because they're not supposed to tell this stuff. They're not supposed to alert the public with regards to, the existence of anything outside of the public. So, another thing, we got simple trusts versus complex trusts. Now, the IRS gives one of the most broad and unarticulated definitions of the difference between a simple trust and a complex trust. But right here, I'm going to let y'all know roughly what the difference is. A simple trust is a trust that is required to distribute all of its annual income to its beneficiaries. Okay? So everything that it takes in through the year, it must disperse. It can't hold on to trust assets. A simple trust beneficiaries cannot be charitable. Beneficiary cannot be a charitable trust. It cannot be, a charitable entity, nonprofit entity. A simple trust, the income of the trust is taxable to the recipient, even if left in the trust to accumulate. So it still belongs to you, the beneficiary, or the grantor. This is counterproductive to what we're looking for. Sounds like it. A simple trust is not allowed to distribute the corpus or the principal. Y'all can look at principal in the law dictionary. I don't like simple trust. Complex trust. It retains the current income in the trust. So the corpus or the principal of the trust is what the trust started out with. So if this trust was created and there was, say, property exchanged into the trust, or passed into the trust, that initial property that was, exchanged into the trust upon, creation, it cannot be distributed. It can't be, can't sell it, none of that stuff. Now, the complex trust can distribute the corpus. Complex trust retains the current income in the trust, so it's not taxed to any beneficiary, or a grantor, or a trustee, as well as the complex trust distributes to charitable organizations. Understanding the difference between a simple trust and a complex trust is very important. It's paramount. Understanding the relation between a contract trust, what is also known as a foreign trust, and the legislative trust is paramount, of most importance. Beyond these understandings, along comes with it proper administration. Y'all can email me. I got a new email, y'all. Because welcome, got a website. It's welcometothefoundation.com. www.welcometothefoundation.com. It's not fully built yet, but the emails are set up. So it's admin, ADMIN at welcometothefoundation.com. Y'all can email me with, regards to administration, if you so choose. You know what I'm saying? If you so choose. I'm trying to keep it, I'm keeping it real basic, y'all, because I don't want to, everybody goes ridiculous with this topic. I feel, I want to keep it real basic. Public trust exists under legislative acts enacted by Congress or through Congress, it's made it through Congress, and Congress has have been enacted through legislation. Private trusts, essentially contract trusts, exist through and derive their existence through the indenture and the declaration itself. Domestic is a public trust. Domestic trust, it exists through legislation. Foreign trust essentially is a trust that derives its creation outside of legislation, so outside, without the United States. Simple versus complex. Now, in the private, we do a complex trust. We're gonna put it out there. Step on some toenails. So this designation of the entity, because there's so many trusts, so many different types of trusts, so many different names for the same trust. Is it private? Does it derive its existence from a declaration, a contract? Or is it public? Does it derive its existence from legislation of the state? I'll let you know if it's domestic or foreign. A foreign trust, trustees, man, the Board of Trustees, check this out. The Board of Trustees of a foreign trust can amend the indenture to bring the trust under the jurisdiction of the domestic corporate United States. It is a private foreign entity that is now elected to be governed under legislation. You can do that. You can definitely do that. Can a domestic trust be made foreign? Nope. And that's really my issue with, going private when people talking about they're going to claim the straw, capture the straw, and bring it into the private. The straw name derives its existence through legislation and the evidence of a certificate of birth certificate, that was created by the state of, it derives its existence from the state of. How you going to bring that? How you going to take that private? Capturing is another thing. Administering it properly, maybe, I don't know. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. The Constitution is a public trust indenture. I'm serious. Y'all can study it. Anyone who understands trust knows that. The United States is a public trust. It's not in its best interest to do anything anti itself. So understand why it's so difficult to come across private information. You either come from an informed family or an uninformed family, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Our families do not have and did not have this information. There was not a private entity that was created so that when we wanted to do business in commerce, because we saw value in whatever it was, we did not and were not provided that entity by the administrators of our private estate. In my opinion, it is on us in the information age, with the world at your fingertips, with the internet, printers, wireless printers, all this stuff. It's on us to reestablish that private estate. The foundation is a charity. I do this for charity every week to help bring this information to my brothers and sisters so they can affect change on their own and reestablish their family estates. Trust is very important. I like the Webster's. All of your faculties were given to you by your maker in trust, and you will be held accountable for what you do with them. As a trustee, you got to keep minutes. You got to track the minutes, and in the minutes of the trust, if any major transaction or decision that's made that isn't specifically spoken of or brought up within the indenture itself. So as a trustee, we are held to account for our dealings with regards to our capacity on behalf of the trust. Same thing with a corporation. When you do business, there's an account that needs to be held. Internal accounts. What does the company own? Is that the company's computer? Is that the company car? External accounts, the Internal Revenue Service. We want to account for the use of these Federal Reserve notes and how you used them. If you don't hold yourself accountable for your diet, you will get sick. If you don't hold yourself accountable for your health, you will not have it. If you don't have yourself accountable for your education, you will not be educated. And if you allow someone else to be accountable for your education, they will educate you for their benefit. We are on this earth essentially in trust. We did not create this earth, but we are stewards. We can mine gold and build buildings and create artificial islands off the coast of whatever. We didn't create it, but we can, be stewards of it, mix it, take it away, reduce it to create other things with the essential elements that are here. We are on this earth in trust. Every parent, if you're a mother or a father, child was put in your life in trust. And that's why they trust you. Trust is a very, very, very heavy, multi-leveled word. Not being held accountable, not having the information, coming from an uninformed family, we don't understand, we don't know trust. So therefore, the public officers administer our benefits. We have to put in claims. Y'all know it. You ever done an application? You ever fill out an application? You know what an application is? You're applying a claim. It's the application of a claim. And the public trustees, as long as the application is everything matches up correctly according to the public trust, the statutes, you're going to get that driver's license. You're going to get that house. You're going to get that credit card. You're going to get that, affordable health care. Because in order for you to receive these benefits, you have to apply your claim to receive the benefits. Whether it's health benefits, dental benefits, credit benefits, any benefit, there's an application process, an application of the claim. So the trustees, the public trustees, they look at the application of claim and look at the legislation on how they must administer this public trust, whether it's health care, Social Security, no matter what it is. And what they don't administer, they require corporations, states, municipalities, cities, to administer on behalf of them. They delegate that. So let's say we're going for a driver's license, right? License. We're going to apply for this license, make an application to claim this driver's license. There's specific information that is required on this application. If you don't have that and you don't meet these requirements, you will not receive that license. They are acting in a specific capacity with regards to these licenses. They have to follow these rules with regards to the legislation that governs the distribution of driver's licenses. If your claim and everything lines up, you will be dispersed the license. I'm not even playing. The trustees will give it to you. Same thing with student loans. Student loans, I went to business school. Student loans, financial aid, it's price discrimination. Basically, it's $50. I ain't got $50. What you got? I got $39. All right, cool. If you fill this out, pay this and this and this, we'll give it to you for $39. That's so you don't blow the whistle and everybody's paying full price. Oh, they did financial aid. Oh, okay. Pell Grants and whatnot, you put in an application. You're applying for specific benefits because you fall under certain specifications with regards to, federal legislation. It's the application of benefits of student loans and grants. If you don't have it, the trustees are required to give it to you, but you must do certain things. And that's where we lose it. There's so many things that we don't know how to do because we come from uninformed families. We don't know how to apply the claim. Even the IRS asks you, what are you claiming? What are you claiming on your taxes? It's right in front of our eyes. It's trust law. I would implore everyone to study trust law. Understand the difference between a simple trust and a complex trust. And what are the benefits and the liabilities between a simple trust and a complex trust? What's the benefits and the liabilities of administering a public entity or agency with my name in all capital letters? When the tax rate is this and the deductions have ceilings, and a lot of the stuff is withheld before I even see it. That's not very beneficial to me. That's my opinion, though. I'm entitled to my opinion. Bottom line, a private trust and a public trust occupy different spaces. Private jurisdiction, contract jurisdiction. I'm not even going to talk about status. The contract trumps the commerce. Contract jurisdiction trumps the commercial jurisdiction. Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution states in part, no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contracts. There's no law that a state can pass that can impair the obligation of contracts. That sounds superior to me. It sounds superior to a state's law. Private? So you telling me if I got a private contract trust, a state can't pass a law impairing the obligations of that contract? Do you? And then I sit back and I relax and I think about it for a second, and the power of that knowledge dawns on me. How powerful is that? Trust public or trust private? I don't know. I'm gonna do a private one. I've never administered a public trust. I've administered public corporations. I've never administered a public trust. I've never administered a public not-for-profit or tax-exempt entity. Definitely administered and administer private entities that are designated tax-exempt by the federal. But it's private. A trust is the right of property, real or personal, held by one party for the benefit of another. So the beneficiaries can say, I don't own that, so you can't tax that to me. And the trustee says, I don't own that, you can't tax that to me. Who owns it? The trust itself. It's actually an entity. Just like a corporation can own a car, you can have a company car. A trust can own those assets. Those assets are not taxed to you. High beneficial interest or certificates of beneficial interest. These certificates have no monetary value. So therefore, there's no monetary value. If this is a certificate and it's like you can't really determine how many Federal Reserve notes the certificate is worth, how are you going to tax it in Federal Reserve notes? The ownership of these certificates is not taxable. The title that's held by the trustee, if administered properly, will not be considered the trustee's. Now, there's other aspects that come into administration of trust. There's just like there's other aspects that come into play with the administration of corporations, the administration of a family, the administration of paying your cell phone bill, honestly. We don't commingle. As trustees, we don't commingle. We understand this does not belong to me. I don't own this. We don't commingle. We keep arm's length distance. Arm's length. So do all business from arm's length. What does that mean? It's debatable, but substantiatable. And we don't self-deal. Those are three main rules. We do not commingle. All dealings are from arm's length. It's a legal term. And we do not self-deal. The trust is not me. I am not the trust. The trust is not me. I am not the trust. The trust is not me. I am not the trust. The corporation is not me. I am not the corporation. The corporation is not me. I am not the corporation. That's called embezzlement. Take some money from a corporation that you work for without it being written to you in a check or something, you're going to get fired. On the trust side, they're just going to tax it to the individual, which is what you do not want. And if you already dispersed funds and moved it around, and it hurts. It really hurts. When it comes to public versus private, the main thing to understand, y'all, is that contracts existed before the United States. There were contracts that existed and contracts that were being executed through handshakes, head nods, in the exchanging of goods or services before most governments existed. So contracts and the jurisdiction of contract is superior to the commercial jurisdiction. Period. 100%. I got something I wanted to read, and I put it back in. I don't know why I did that, y'all. All right, I got it. This is the breakdown of law. This is available on highfrequencyradionetwork.com in the PDF section. Welcome to the vault.com. We'll also have a PDF section. And it will be a lot. I'm going to put a lot of stuff in there. I was talking to my guy who was working on the website today. And I was like, let's put all this on there. He was like, I think that's copywritten. And I realized, man, okay, you're right, brother, because I want to give y'all everything. So law breaks down, natural law, superior law is like, the Creator's law, God's law. The 7 principles, 7 pillars, Proverbs 9:1, wisdom has built her house on 7 pillars. The Kabbalion. The Kabbalion is the emerald tablets of the 7, what was that? I think Hermes, some Greek philosophers. It's basically the law, the natural law that exists in evidence through how our world works in front of us, how the planets rotate, around the earth, around the sun, how far the galaxies are, how the stars precession, so on and so forth. It happens over and over. Obviously, we didn't do that, and this is what is termed as natural law, the law of the Creator, the law that was put in place by the Creator. And then, from there, it goes down to positive law. Positive law is man-made law. Man is the trustees of natural law. We didn't create it, but we the trustees, essentially. Then from positive law, it breaks down to substantive law. This is the part of law that creates, defines, and regulates rights, including the law of contracts, torts, wills, and real property. The essential substance of rights under law, substantial law. Then under substantive law, you got public and private law. Public law being the body of law dealing with the relations between private individuals and the government, and with the structure and operation of government itself. You got constitutional law, criminal law, administrative law, and international law, as well as commercial law. This all falls under public law. We got private law. Private law is the body of law dealing with private persons and their property and relationships. Private law, you're dealing with contract law, tort law, status law, and property law. So now, everyone living and breathing, you're foreign to the United States. I don't care. I'm stepping on toes. Everyone that's living and breathing is foreign to the United States. By the general laws of nations, no nation is bound to recognize the state of slavery as to foreign slaves within its territorial dominions. So, the United States, with regards to having human slavery, like bond slavery, they're not required to acknowledge or recognize the state of slavery as to foreign slaves within its territorial dominions when it is opposed to its own policy and institutions in favor of the subjects of other nations where slavery is recognized. So I believe it's the amendments. One of the amendments says that the state of slavery shall not exist except for those convicted of a crime. So slavery is recognized in the United States, y'all. When it comes to the United States, they're not going to recognize that we're debt slaves within their own jurisdiction, within their own territorial dominions, when it is opposed to its own policy, because we essentially fund and operate the United States and its insular possessions. We go to work in its, its entities that were created, by the United States and, state of wherever you're at. Public, what is public, what is private? Public, we got constitutional law, criminal law, administrative law, international law, commercial law. Constitution, but the Constitution, like I say, y'all, it's a private. It falls under private law essentially, because it is contract. It's contract law. It's a contract. It has signatures and signatories all over it. Essentially, hopefully, this is it. Essential in our learning. Also, public law is that part of law which deals with the state, either by itself or in its relation with individuals. And it's called constitutional when it regulates the relations between the various divisions of sovereign power. And administrative when it regulates the business which the state has to do. So y'all, we got birth certificates, with the state of on it. This is public. We all understand this is public, administrative, possibly even commercial. It says a banknote company on that document, that birth certificate. If you look at it close enough, you'll see it's security paper. It's security. The Uniform Commercial Code, it needs to be studied. But this is public. And if you're dealing with public, you should understand this. Most of us, we interface with the public, whether we're private, we're dealing with private entities, or, we're dealing with public entities. I feel this information is paramount. That's why I'm bringing it to you tonight. I'm going to end the show a little early tonight. I apologize, but I have to end the show early, honestly, because I don't know what's going on Blog Talk. It says that the show's going to end early, and I believe it. So I double-checked, and it's supposed to be a 2-hour show, but it's not going to be a 2-hour show. I apologize. But, we have been having issues with Blog Talk recently. I don't really know what's going on. Hopefully it's because I've been pancaking toes. Hopefully. And, I'm just going to continue to think that. But, man, what is it? And I'm just going to be safe and say we got about 15 minutes left. So, with that, I'm just going to start wrapping it up, y'all. Now, I see some callers. I apologize, y'all. Not going to be able to take callers tonight. But I hope y'all really have enjoyed the show. I hope y'all got something from it. I hope I brought some clarity to the difference between a public trust and a private trust. Brought some clarity to some other issues as well, hopefully. And, I do this for y'all. Are trust important? Yeah. Is it important for us to understand trust, understand how to administer trust, and understand the importance of trust? Yes. I think it is very important. That's why I'm speaking on it this evening. Some of this stuff could be considered controversial. I don't know. I know for sure with the interaction that I've been receiving, especially lately, that some people are taking notice to the foundation, and I appreciate that. Whether it's positive or negative, either way, focus is focus. And I'm just here to really be a positive catalyst of change, for my people, to make a difference. As corny as it sounds, I'm saying, I'm trying to make a difference. And a lot of people that I hear say they want to make a difference, they really just saying it because it sounds good. There's no shame in my game, and I'm not out here trying to win cool points. I don't care if you like me. I really don't. I don't care what you think about me, because if I was supposed to know what you think about me, I'd be able to read your mind. The fact that I can't read your mind lets me know that that's none of my business. And I don't really concern myself with things that aren't my business. So, whether or not you like what I'm doing, you appreciate what I'm doing, on the negative aspect, that's cool. On the positive aspect, I appreciate all of y'all. And this is the reason why I do it. Anytime you're more than able and more than welcome to hit me up in the private. Hit me up at admin@welcometothefoundation.com. Once again, that's ADMIN @welcometothefoundation.com. And, I do business in the private. I teach trust administration. I will plug you. But it's got to be handled in the private. I got to talk to you, how to feel your vibe. The ancestors got to tell me what's up. I'm just being real. With that being said, what does it say? Last but not least, y'all, Upland Credit. Check them out. Type in foundation.uplandcredit.com. That's UPLANDCREDIT.com. Look, man, I've been dealing with the brother, one of the partners of this. I've been offered unequivocal proof, credit restoration, credit enhancement, as well as credit funding. I see this stuff. Most of this stuff, you don't even have to have a job. And I'm not saying like just go get in trouble with this stuff. I'm not. Be diligent and be responsible with the things that you do. But if you're having credit issues, if your credit score is really, really low, I've seen it from like mid 400s. I ain't even seen credit scores this low to like mid to high 700s in what was that 160 days or was it 120? I didn't write it down, so I don't remember. But, I mean, it was within a year, yo. It was 6 months or so. I've seen it. I've seen the checks. I've seen the accounts. The stuff works. So definitely check them out. So check them out. Foundation, uplandcredit.com. I'll get you right. Restore your credit. Enhance your credit. They can throw trade lines on it. Put you as an authorized user. Suddenly, there's $5,000 credit line, $10,000 credit line reported on your credit report, which is essentially going to raise the utilization, or lower your utilization, and raise the ceiling of the available credit for you, which ultimately looks good. We want to buy houses. We want to take advantage of the first-time home buyer program. We want to, finance vehicles. We want to fund our businesses. I don't want to work 9 to 5. You don't want to work 9 to 5. This is just, definitely a resource that can be utilized in the advancement of the things that you're looking to do, the advancement of the things that you're looking to do for yourself and your family. And, if your energy ain't right, and in my opinion, if you out here just trying to, get money, no accountability, it ain't going to work. Trust me. So hit them up, Upland Credit, Foundation, uplandcredit.com. Boys is cool, and they do good work. It's credit restoration, credit enhancement, credit funding, if you would like. It's 3 different tiers. Like I said, hit them up. They'll let you know where to start. Let you know what to do. I'm a believer, y'all. I'm convinced. I might take advantage of some of the funding. You know me. Y'all know me, man. I'm a commercial law dude, so I talk about Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. My credit isn't anything to be, in my opinion, to be concerned about. I got pretty good credit on the social. So just want to shout the brothers out, man. They're doing good work. They're working hard, and it's definitely something that we can take advantage of. Y'all can hit me up on Facebook. I'm SOTEL, SOTEL on Facebook. I don't know if there's any other SOTEL. It should be easy to find. And y'all can find the Foundation Facebook page and like the page, because as I get moving, it's going to be more content on there, content from the website, content from the shows. Y'all want to check it out. Admin at welcometothefoundation.com. Y'all holler at me. Welcometothefoundation.com is going to be up pretty soon. Y'all be on the lookout for that. And, definitely want to say I appreciate y'all. Man, it's going to talk. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I just want to say, invest in your private education. Definitely, I would. I did. It paid off in dividends. There's no joke, I don't know if we get do-overs for this life. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to be held accountable for that we do. So with that being said, man, y'all love each other, love yourself. Before you go to sleep tonight, I want you to say 10 things that you're grateful for, 10 things that you're thankful for, and smile. Be good to yourself, enjoy yourself, be good to your wife, your husband, your child, your daughter. And see the God in them, because I see the God in you. Check out highfrequencyradionetwork.com. Go to the PDF section. Get your learn on. Always be diligent. Get rid of those Federal Reserve notes as fast as you can. Only keep as much as you need for cash flow. and Billy. Keep studying. Keep showing love. And y'all be easy, man. I love y'all. Peace to God.
Doing this thing all the way live. High Frequency Radio.